she's finished them off because she wants to do the more, if she had her choice, she'd always be doing new problems and working on the next module, and it's not always in what she should be working on.
And we were speaking with their teacher earlier and talked about setting goals for the week and bringing a card home so that everybody's on the same page. Did you find that helpful?
I found that really helpful because it allowed me as a parent to direct what she was working on. Okay. I found the system of the teacher setting weekly goals with the students to be very helpful. We used that at home. When I would get the card at home, I would be aware of what she needed to work on or what the teacher felt like she should work on, and that's exactly what we did at home.
Yes, it was really helpful to have that card come home.
So is there anything that we haven't asked you that, you know, you want to say this to a parent whose child is starting this program?
One surprising outcome of my daughter participating in the CON pilot this year was that she struggled. She, at the beginning of the year using CON, she was not happy, as many of her classmates also shared. She was uncomfortable with not knowing how she was doing in math compared to the rest of the class. Everyone works at their own pace. Some kids took off, some kids are further behind. You really don't know where you are, and so for my daughter it was upsetting because she didn't know if she was doing well or if she was just kind of motoring through, and so so she was having a tough time with CON, and so her teacher and I were in constant communication, and he kept assuring me that we were moving forward. I could see by the weekly goal setting that she was making success on a weekly basis, and so very surprising to me, the surprising outcome was that in January, she had finished 5th grade curriculum. So for the daughter that was a little reluctant to get going on math and had a few stumbling blocks at the beginning, I was really surprised and excited by her abilities and her achievements midway through the school year. And so with that, I think you've heard from Sunya and other parents, the kids just take off. Once they get that confidence under their belt, they just want to keep going, and that's exactly what's happened.
And I'd like to add to that by saying that Akhil wasn't a reluctant math student to begin with. He has always been excited about math, and even he actually faced a few stumbles. And I think it was more because it was a different medium, a different way of doing things, not pen and paper, where every day the homework is the same for everybody. Again, because it was self-paced, they have no clue about what pacing is. And it's always a race because it is so incentive oriented. You just want to keep moving on. It's like a video game. Level 1, level 2, level 3, and they have this fantastic graph which shows you from this module to that module, and you know, it was just really exciting. But unlike a video game, you really actually have to master. And the initial part was really fast, and then when it wasn't that fast, and I think that was when they actually reached the new material at 5th grade level, it became frustrating. Then the desire to find a quick way out was really high. He put in a lot of effort, I think, trying to figure out that rather than actually learn it, and then eventually got to where he was enjoying it. And I think by now it has actually added to him in many ways more than just math. I think it has brought in him that pride, and I think for our classroom, definitely it has made it cool to be good in math. It's not about just those couple of guys in class who are nerds and who get it, but it's really actually quite cool to be doing this.
When you think about your kids going into 6th grade next year, what are your thoughts about kind of their more math courses in the future? Kind of how will this have changed them and their expectations, or your expectations, or how do you think about that?
As it relates to next year's math, because our kids have moved forward so quickly, I was really relieved to hear that the district has decided to initiate the CON programs in grades 4, 5, and 6 for our school, because not only so our daughter has been so successful that I know all the other children will be very successful as well, and I'm happy for them to have that opportunity and experience. But I also am really appreciative that her work that she started this year will be able to continue next year.
Going into next year, I think one of the problems, and that's my personal opinion about doing stuff that is self-paced, it's great, but then there is a tendency to do a lot in one area, and in this case it's math. And when you go into 6th grade, then you have to start at some point. And if you keep going ahead, I'm just worried that you can master solving problems, but how deep you go into that topic is really important as well. It becomes more about applying equations versus understanding how the equations came into being, or the theory behind math. And so I do think that there will have to be parallel teaching. Like, I think before Khan Academy came into our lives, I think what I found similar to Khan was Singapore math, were the books that we used. And that was so you get mastery at something, so you're not spending so much time thinking about 3 plus 5 or 3 times 5, and then hence going on to the next level. So I think it really helps. I think Khan goes one step beyond Singapore, and I think because of the Singapore math and because it has the videos, it's explaining more of the concept. But I still think that there are certain concepts that will require additional, like classroom teaching, and not so much because the videos won't help, but it's just that every brain learns in a different way. And if you have a question, you can stop the video and replay it, but you can't ask Sarkhan, but I have this question at this point. It's not that level of interaction. So I don't think that will be substituted, and I think that would be wonderful to relieve the teachers from having to spend time on getting the children to get familiar with the actual mechanics and spend more time actually teaching theory, which right now they can't. They're unable to do that. So I'm excited that that's going to be a possibility for future classrooms.
And I noticed in this classroom, Khan seems to be used to teach the basic concepts, that they then apply it in a constructivist project-based approach. How well do you think Khan Academy works in the more project-based, hands-on learning environment?
I'm not sure I know the answer because I'm not in the classroom, so I don't see that dynamic.
I haven't been, by 5th grade, there's not as much parent involvement in the classroom.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing. I see at open houses their projects, and it seems to be going all right. I haven't had Akhil come home frustrated that he can't figure something. So I am assuming that it's working quite well.
And maybe a different way of looking at it. How sticky do you think these lessons are in your kids' mind? Can you see them having a higher level of understanding of math now than they had at the beginning of the year and applying it into the real world, or to their, as opposed to just checking off a box on a multiple choice?
I can see the concepts of Khan being applied when we're doing, when we're on trips and traveling, or we're at a restaurant and it's time to pay the bill. The daughter is now grabbing the receipt and wanting to add the tip portion. So I think it's definitely broadened her horizon about how math is used every day and it surrounds you. And so I think that's a definite attribute of Khan.
And I'm not sure that I've seen Akhil grow, but I'm not sure if it's in math, but I'm not sure that I can attribute it, that I can separate it to Khan versus him having done math in 5th grade anyway, and just, exposure and just maturity. So I am not sure that I can really separate the two. I just know it has been a great experience and it has helped him in totality, but I don't know that I can separate it.